So, no, I haven't forgotten the read through series, and we're going to continue reading through the Guide to the World of Greyhawk today on Greyhawk Grognard. So we left off with finishing up the nations of the world of Greyhawk, and now we're going to move on to one of the most interesting parts of this book, as far as I'm concerned. And this is my well-worn, coverless copy of the Guide to the World of Greyhawk, and that is these two maps. The one on the left, it covers regional alignments. And this is a really interesting map because it gives you some insights into the nations that you don't really get from the text of the nation descriptions. So, for example, in the way it works, basically, each of the alignments has a symbol. That's these things, and the symbols are in here. It's going to be a little bit hard to read probably in the video, but you see. But you'll notice that there's a gradation of gray to white in here, and the white is obviously the good aligned nations, and the gray is obviously the evil aligned nations, and that's where we get into some really interesting stuff. Because, for example, um, we have the theocracy of the pale, which is here. Normally, one thinks of that as a good aligned nation, but it is in a shade of gray and it's showing as lawful neutral. So that's right there a very interesting insight because theocracy of the pale, which obviously worships Fultus, the god of light and so forth. You normally think of Fultus as one of the good aligned gods, even though he's at odds with other good aligned gods like St. Cuthbert. But according to the map, it is a lawful neutral nation, and thus it has a lot more moral ambiguity than you thought than one might think at first. The big good nations, they're the obvious ones, Nyrond and Viriandi and Valuna and Kaoland and so forth. That's what you would expect, and you see various like in Allmore here. There's all three good alignments are represented. Neutral good, chaotic good, and true neutral is also in there. The city state of Irongate. That one is lawful neutral and lawful good. So you did what you'd expect. But some of these, like Perrinland up here, this is the Switzerland of Greyhawk. That one is given as lawful neutral and true neutral. So that's why it has that gray, that kind of medium gray alignment in there. So there's some definite odd things going on with the alignments here. A lot of the all of the barbarians are chaotic neutral, which explains why they have just the very decentralized governments and so forth. And one of the big things, if you look down here, the Scarlet Brotherhood is lawful neutral. Not at all what you normally think of when you think of the Scarlet Brotherhood. Normally, you'd think it would be evil, and later on, it does bear out to be. For this map, it's lawful neutral, which is a bit of a shocker. One of the ones I love, the Wild Coast here in the down here where all of the a lot of the player characters in Gary's original game came from. That has every alignment. It's just everybody's there. So always thought this was a pretty neat thing. The only really good back Loonish nation is where is Ekbir up here. That's the Caliphate of Ekbir is the only one that's good aligned. It's lawful good and neutral good. All the rest are either neutral or evilly aligned. The one here, Zeitz, the Sult. No, I'm sorry. The Plains of the Paynims here has every alignment as well. So there's a lot. There's a lot of subtlety going on with the alignments here, and this map bears a lot of close study. The next one is we have the regional products. This is kind of an economic thing because they do mention some economics in the descriptions of the nations, but here it actually gives what trade goods each one produces, which is very interesting. At least a wonk like me thinks it is. So, for example, the Bandit Kingdoms, they have silver from the mines that are in the the Rift Canyon. The Wild Coast has zero. It doesn't produce anything except adventurers, which I thought was really funny. Um, we have, like Kaoland has cloth and gold and gems and uh, what's that one? Food. A lot of the produce food and cloth, which would make sense. Up here, you've got furs and so forth. Down here, you've got rare woods and so forth. So it's just really an interesting. Actually, you don't have rare woods. You have rare woods in the Scarlet Brother, but it's really very interesting to see what you have there, and you can kind of use these regional products to inform like random encounters with merchant caravans and things like that. So if you see a merchant caravan from Pearland, for example, it's probably going to be carrying copper ingots, whereas one from um, the Sea Princes is probably going to have food, from the big plantations that they have down there. So it's just a really it can really help bring those kinds of encounters to life.
Hi, everybody. Please help me keep Greyhawk alive by liking this video and subscribing. It really does help. You can also become a member of the channel or support me on Patreon and get early access to my videos, exclusive content, free or at cost copies of my Greyheim Adventures modules, and more. Thanks, and now back to the show.
The next one we have is the geographical marvels, regions, and prominent features. So, basically the geography section. Um, there is where there is no statistical information given, it is impossible for the chronicler to estimate the data due to the lack of certain knowledge about the area. And that brings up a point that remember this book is supposedly written um, uh, in the campaign itself, right? It was written by a character in the campaign, so it has imperfect knowledge, and that might explain why the Scarlet Brotherhood is showing as lawful neutral rather than lawful evil. Because at the time this was written in 576, they had not really shown their true colors yet. But it starts off with bodies of water, and we have the Azure Sea, which is this the big one. It's down here. You can't really see it on the map behind me. Freebooters are fairly common, and the savages inhabiting the islands of the Amadeo coast practice piracy. There's a sprinkling of other pirates in the east, and the sea princes are not above occasional buccaneering. I love that word. Although that's a very interesting thing. We hear of the Amadeo coast, which is I've never, it's one of those phrases you don't really hear a lot, but it makes a lot of sense. Um, the Near Dive, the Lake of Unknown Depths. Now, this is the big lake right by the city of Greyhawk. It's right smack dab in the middle, and it plays a very prominent role in the campaign. And one of the great things about this particular section is it gives a lot of information about the barge folk, the Rennie. Um, this combined with what little we got in the city of Greyhawk entry and a few other places here and there, you could really build up a good idea of what the Rennie are like. This gives really great details about the barges and so forth. So Gygax has put a lot of work and a lot of thought into what these barge folk are, the river folk, and they are a prominent feature in and around this area of the campaign. You see a lot of them in the Gord the Rogue, especially. In the first book, and because they bring him in, and they're the ones who teach him how to be an acrobat and so forth. Their cousins, the ones who are in the wagons. Um, but it goes on about their culture and about the system of flags that they use to communicate and so forth. But the near dive is also well known for the monsters which inhabit its waters. Deep beneath the surface lurk huge creatures which prey upon unwary sailors or anyone so unlucky as to fall in the water. Warcraft and occasionally merchants or barges will bring up back such creatures as trophies, as constant warfare upon these creatures is necessary to make the lake useful and usable. So you could, in that one little paragraph, you get this wonderfully evocative image. Then we have the lesser bodies of water, the Denzak Gulf, the Drawmage Ocean, and so forth. It talks about like the Drawmage Ocean, which is this back here. Talks about the warm currents of water, and that creates fog, and huge chunks of ice move around as if they were ghost ships. I love that idea. It gives all the little things, the ICC, which is up there. Uh, the Solnor sweeps northward around the Thilronian Peninsula, which I believe is the first place we actually get that name for that area. And ends in the icy sea. The northern waters are frozen except in high summer months. The northern barbarians sometimes take their galleys into these waters to hunt for ivory and furs. They're just, I'm not going to go through every single one, but all of the different lakes and oceans and seas and gulfs and stuff are given here. The one here, where is it? Uh, the Solnor Ocean. It is said that the Solnor Ocean reaches for 1,000 leagues and more eastward. The Sea Barons have reportedly sailed eastward for some distance and returned, but these rumors have never been confirmed. Great monsters dwell upon the Solnor um, and sport in Grendep Bay when the sun warms the waters there. White Fang Bay, I love this one. The ice formations common to this body of water resemble the teeth of a predator, and thus the bay is named for the great ice-coated rocks and bergs that menace vessels attempting to land upon its shores. Stuff like that is just so amazing. And Woolly Bay, I love this because he gives a little indication that yes, he's being cute with the names down here because we've got the Wild Coast and the Woolly Bay, like wild and woolly. And he even says the wag who named this terminus of the Sea of Garnet made it stick is lost to history, but the appellation is not inappropriate. And so he's giving a wink to the fact that the names are supposed to be a pun. I love that just in universe acknowledgement of extra universe stuff. It's really 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 funny. Um, so I'm gonna call it there. Next up, we'll do the hills and the highlands. I say this every time I do this, but I will hopefully try to do these more often because I know there is a small but vocal contingent who loves these, and I'm doing these for you. So anyway, hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will talk to you all later.
Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.